Call this meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. I first want to acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the land in which we are meeting is the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. As a council and a municipality, we will continue to work on moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities and in the spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. I'll ask for a motion for the adoption of the minutes, please.
Resolve that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held at City Hall on April 24th, 2023 be adopted as circulated.
Moved by Councillor Doyle, seconded by Councillor Porter. All those in favor? And that's carried. We have no public delegations this evening, but a number of public hearings. We're going to open public hearing request for variation PC 23-23 Metcalf 404 Nana Lane. I'll ask if there's anyone here to speak in favor of this application. Anyone here to speak against? Are there any letters to be read out?
No, there are no letters.
No. Nothing from council? I will ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you, Your Worship. Be it resolved, and I so move that the public hearing for variation PC 23-23 for Metcalf at 404 Nana Lane now be closed.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. All those in favor? And that's carried. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. Of course, in front of you, Council, is a request for a variation. And the issue is to vary the following for a front yard requirement that of 7.5 meters, and they're requesting it to be reduced down to 6.4 meters. And that the maximum height of a detached accessory building of 4.6 meters be increased to 6.93 meters, and that's to facilitate a garage. If you have a look, you will see that there is a sketch and a site plan there for your reference as well. Come on, there we go. So the background is David and Anita Metcalf, or the applicants, are applying for a variation order to vary the following. They would like to build a new single-family dwelling with a detached garage. They did have a previous variation that was approved, which was PC 2021 for the minutes there. Unfortunately, it has since expired, and they're reapplying for this. So the council has approved similar requests in the past, and the 2-minute references there for PC 4814 and PC 3809 are there for your reference as well. It is in an R1, which is a residential single-family zone. The application has been circulated to various city departments. There's been no concerns. Public notices, as usual, were sent to all property owners within a 100-meter radius, and as you can see, there was no objections. So that said, it's the administrative recommendation, and I so move that the council of the city of Portage la Prairie approve the variation request of David and Anita Metcalf to vary the following. Front yard requirement of 7.5 meters to be reduced to 6.4 meters, and maximum height of a detached accessory building of 4.6 meters to be increased to 6.93 meters at the property known as 404 Nana Lane, which is legally described as Lot 4, Block 2, Plan 23-958 in the parish of Portage la Prairie.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Any questions or comments from council? All those in favor? And that's carried. We'll open public hearing a request for variation PC 24-23 Lopez for 25 Lions Memorial Place. I'll ask if there's anyone here to speak in favor of the variation. If you just want to come to the mic and state your name for the record, please. Thank you. Anyone else in favor of the variation? Anyone here to speak against the variation? Any letters to be read out?
No, no letters.
Thank you. Any questions of the applicants? Anyone? No? I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Be it resolved, and I so move that the public hearing for variation PC 2423 for Lopez at 25 Lions Memorial Place now be closed.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. All those in favor? And that's carried. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. And of course, this is file number PC 24-23, and council is as well a request for a variation. And the request is to vary the side yard requirement of 3.6 meters when on the street side of a reversed corner site to be reduced down to 1.524 meters as it states in our planning district. There is a sketch there and of course a site plan for your reference as well that has a proposed drawing of where the garage would be. The background is Kyle and Janelle Lopez are applying for variation order to vary the side yard requirement. And the applicant would like to construct a detached garage in the rear yard. Currently, the building is in an R160, which is a residential single-family zone. The application has been circulated to various city departments. There have been no concerns. Public notices, of course, were sent out to all property owners within a 100-meter radius, and as you can see, there are no objections. With that said, it's the administrative recommendation, and I so move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie approve the variation request of Kyle and Janelle Lopez to vary the side yard requirement of 3.6 meters when on the street side of a reversed corner site to be reduced to 1.524 meters at the property known as 25 Lions Memorial Place, which is legally described as Lot 7, Plan 41901 in the parish of Portage la Prairie.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. We'll open public hearing requests for conditional use PC 26-23, City of Portage la Prairie for 6 Garrick Park Drive. I'll ask if there's anyone here to speak in favor. Anyone here to speak against? Any letters to be read out?
No, there are no letters.
Thank you. I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Be it resolved, and I so move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie approve the conditional use application of the City of Portage la Prairie to allow for a community recreation center in an OR, or open space recreational zone at the property 6 Garrick Park Drive, which is legally described as Lot 9, Plan 1721 in the parish of Portage la Prairie.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Any questions, comments? Maybe just a question to administration as to kind of explaining why, when there was a building here, why we have to do this again?
Through your worship to council. So the site obviously had the Cocoa Pass recreational facility on the location before, but since then the bylaws have changed, and in the current bylaws there's requirement to get a conditional use to have a building on an open space recreational facility. So we do like to follow our own bylaws and to the letter, and due to that we have to get this conditional use to move forward. We have had discussions with planning about potentially removing that requirement in the future, but it's a new bylaw. Sometimes as you work your way through it, you just find a few things that you want to change in the future. So that's why we were moving forward with it.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. We'll move into Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Your Worship. Finance, Legislative, and Property has no report at this time.
Thank you.
Sorry, Your Worship, did we actually do the request for conditional use? I don't believe we got to the report. We just voted on the close the motion.
Okay. Sorry. We just closed the hearing and then I asked you a question? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councillor Meyer.
Perfectly okay. Of course, just for the record, in front of you, Council, you're going to see file number PC 26-23, And it's a request for conditional use for 6 Garrick Park Drive. And the issue, of course, is to allow for a community recreation center in an OR, which is currently described as open space and recreational zone. So the city of Portage la Prairie has applied for conditional use to allow for the community recreation center in an OR, open space recreational zone. Application was circulated to various city departments, and there have been no concerns. And the public notices have been sent to all property owners with a 100-meter radius, and there have been no objections. So that said, it's the administrative recommendation, and I so move that the council of the city of Portage la Prairie approve the conditional use application of the city of Portage la Prairie to allow for a community recreation center in an OR, or open space recreational zone, at the property 6 Garrick Park Drive, which is legally described as Lot 9, Plan 1721 in the parish of Portage la Prairie.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Now we'll move into Finance, Legislative and Property Committee. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Your Worship. Finance, Legislative and Property Committee has no report in this part of the meeting.
Thank you. City Planning and Economic Development Committee. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. City Planning and Economic Development has nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Community Services Committee. Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Community Services Committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. Waterworks Committee. Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. Waterworks Committee has nothing to report at this portion of the meeting.
Thank you. Transportation Committee. Councillor Porter.
Thank you, Your Worship. Transportation Committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. And Public Safety Committee. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Public Safety Committee has nothing to report in council this evening.
Thank you. We have no deferred business. We'll move right into new business. Our March building reports. City Planning and Economic Development. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I think as council knows now, this is one of my favorite parts of being able to sit around this table. Obviously, we have both reports, one for the city and one for the RM of Portage. But being a regional organization, I always draw your attention to the combined report for March 2023. So just in real brief, you are going to see that permits actually are up a little bit over last year. And if you look at the dollar value attached in whole, the dollar value is over doubled on it. So I know that the planning district and those involved in that have had their work cut out for them. On the residential side, you're going to see that there's been a few more repairs than there has been in the past. So it shows you that there are property owners that are putting investment into their own properties. Commercial is down slightly, which we knew was going to happen. You're going to see that trend for a little bit. Hopefully it'll come back up. Repairs are up as well. Industrial is up a little bit on the new side, but more importantly, not more importantly, just as important, the institutional side obviously has the bulk of the permits, and that would be, I would assume, would be attributed to majority of the hospital continuation going on. So, and then the one thing I just wanted to point out, just under the RTMs, we always talked about the RTMs being a bit of a cottage industry, and you start to see that they start to increase around. Last year we had 3 permits for a total of 417,000. This year there's only been 1 permit this month for 750,000. So it just goes to show you that the sizes of these RTMs aren't what you think of a smaller type of a dwelling. This would be pretty significant that they're building and moving around. So pretty important industry to us from a permit perspective and a dollar perspective, and it's really cool to see that not only the amount of them, but the actual dollar value increasing as well. So I just wanted to point that out. If there's any questions, we can certainly answer them. If not, that would be the end of my report.
Thank you. Just a question maybe, and maybe to planning. Would that RTM be the daycare?
No, the RTM is actually one being built on the east end of town to move up. It's for fire emergency services up in Snow Lake area.
Oh, interesting. Thank you.
So we're getting stuff all over the province. And I think the one of the daycare is built on site.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, we'll move into more new business for first reading of bylaw 23-8755, zoning amendment PC 27-23, Homestead Consumers Co-op, and that is City Planning and Economic Development Committee. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. In front of you, Council, you're going to see an application for a rezoning, which is to commence the first reading of the bylaw. This applicant is of the Homestead Consumers Co-op Limited, and the issue is to commence the zoning amendment process for rezoning the above-listed property for R1 Residential Family Dwelling Zone, or OR Open Space Recreational Zone, which is what it currently is, to C1 Neighborhood Commercial Zone, to the City of Portage la Prairie zoning bylaw number 21-8724, and then giving bylaw number 23-8755 the first reading. The property in question is adjacent to the 150 River Road, which is currently the Homestead Co-op there now, and the applicants, the Homestead Consumers Co-op, wish to rezone this property to C1 Neighborhood Commercial Zone, which is land that they purchased back a little while ago. It does fit within the uses of the Portage la Prairie Development Plan. If this application is approved, it'll be circulated to the province for review and comment after the first reading, and then it comes back for second and third reading at that point. As per Section 74(1) of the Planning Act, Council shall indicate its intention to enact a zoning bylaw amendment by giving first reading and proceed with the public notice as sent out in Section 168. So, it's administrative recommendation, and I so move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie give bylaw number 23-8755 first reading, and that public notice be provided as defined in Section 168 of the Planning Act.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Any questions or comments on that? All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Another item of new business, testing of lead concentrations in potable water at residential homes. And this is Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is a report to Council for information only under New Business Waterworks Committee. And what it is the announcement of going forth with our testing of lead concentrations in potable water at residential homes here in Portage. And so it's for information. It'll be posted on the website. The City of Portage la Prairie will be conducting its annual program to test for potable lead in drinking water at the taps of residential homes. The City of Portage la Prairie is required to sample 40 residential locations for random daytime lead water sampling and reporting. This is required by the Office of Drinking Water, jointly with Manitoba Public Health, for cities in Manitoba and populations over 10,000, and in addition to the city's current self-administered lead and metals testing program. So you're going to see this information. It'll be posted on our website, and we'll have further information as we go through this program. It's there's numbers and information in here and links that if there's people that are wishing to have a look at that, we do have some names left over from last year, and the information is all encompassed within. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Anyone have questions on that? No? That was a question that came up during committee from Councillor Meyer, I think. So thank you to administration for bringing that. Okay, another item of new business, to award the tender for the McKay Reservoir roof replacement. That's Waterworks Committee once again. Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. And what you have in front of you, Council, here is a report. And what it is the issue that we're looking at is award of tender for McKay Reservoir roof membrane replacement. So the issue is to award the contract for the McKay Reservoir roof replacement as per tender 23-OPS-007. Alternatives: award the contract for the replacement of the McKay Reservoir roof membrane to Sky City, or do not award the contract for the replacement of the McKay Reservoir roof membrane. So the tender for the replacement of the McKay Reservoir roof membrane replacement was issued on March 15th, 2023, and was posted on Works and the City of Portage websites. The last addendum, number 5, was issued on April 19th. Final submissions were due by April 24th of 2023. 6 companies submitted tenders, and 1 was disqualified due to a late submission and incorrect formatting. Bidders were asked to quote on 2 different insulation systems, and you'll see that in the package that the 2 different information systems were described. The only difference between these two was System 1 used the same very stable insulation for both layers, while System 2 used more an economical insulation for the bottom layer. So there's a chart here, and this is how it played out in terms of bids that were accepted. Sky City Roofing had points of 88.1, and their bid price net of GST was $956,140.93. Normando Roofing with 86.4 points and a bid price of $106,845 net of GST. McCallum Roofing, 79.1 in terms of bid points, and their tender bid price net of GST was $1,147,885, and Transcona Roofing with points of 77.5 and a bid price net of GST of $1,105,485. Flint Canada Limited, their points were 73.9, and their bid price was $1,583,146. So as you can see, we had a very good submission in terms of bid prices. And Sky City Roofing finished with the highest total points. The company has recent experience with large municipal projects and comes with good reviews. Sky City has provided a realistic timeline for completion, and they are also the lowest bid by a reasonable margin. The 2023 budget is for $1,167,767 for the roof replacement, and this includes AECOM's engineering expenses for design and contract oversight. This will leave some money available should there be anticipated expenses. So it is the administration recommendation, and I so move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie award the contract for the replacement of the McCain Reservoir roof membrane to Sky City Roofing for a total contract price of $956,140.93 net of GST. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Nichols, seconded by Councillor Porter. Is there any questions or comments? No? All those in favor? And that's carried. We have one item of old business, and for our final of our 2023 financial plan and second and third reading of tax levy bylaw 23-8754. And this is Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Your Worship and colleagues. The issue here tonight is that to approve the 2023 budget for the City of Portage that was approved on January 23rd, 2023. The tax levy bylaw is comprised of the 2023 budget and the financial plan and sets the mill rates needed to raise our tax dollars. The 10-year capital plan and debt management plan are also part of the plan. So this evening we're looking at either approving the 2023 financial plan and tax levy bylaw or to not approve the financial plan and tax levy bylaw. As you know, our budget requires $13.4 million in property taxes to meet our expenditures not recovered by other revenues. As a city, we remain committed to investing in our city to improve and enhance our infrastructure to meet the needs of all our citizens. The 2023 financial plan includes spending of over $24 million for general capital and $16 million for utility projects, including this year's capital expense for the Saskatchewan Avenue project. And as we've mentioned numerous times, the city has been able to maintain regular 2023 property taxes with a modest increase of 1.96%, which in these inflationary times is, I think, a good credit to our administration and to our council for bringing a budget in at that level. The school division and the provincial education support levy decreases for 2023. This will result in a decrease in residential property owners' taxes of approximately 0.95%, and a decrease in non-residential properties of approximately 2.13%. And below that, you'll see the tables which shows when all is said and done between the municipal and the school division, we are for the property assessed at $250,000. We're showing a slight decrease in their property taxes of $34. and for a commercial property assessed at $500,000. When you take everything together, again, a slight decrease of $287. That's between our school board and our property taxes as a city. The recent provincial budget increased the education tax rebate for residential and farm properties from 37.5 to 50%, and those checks will be mailed to registered property owners by July 2023. The education property tax credit has been reduced, though, from $437.50 to $350. So properties that the credit applies will see an increase of $87.50. So those are your numbers for the current financial plan. The 2023 tax payment deadline is Monday, July 31, 2023. There's a wide variety of choices taxpayers can use to pay their taxes, including visiting City Hall, mailing a check, dropping off your check in our front door drop box, internet banking, e-transfer, and by credit card through Pay Simply. Now, we're just on debt management. I think this is important that you see where we are in our debt management plan. As you know, it's incorporated into the enhanced 10-year capital plan. Details of this plan for funding general utility projects are identified in the 2023 financial plan presentation document. And this is based on regulatory requirements that a municipality's debt cannot exceed 7% of its total property's portioned assessment, and debt payments can't exceed 20% of its annual gross revenue. So when you put those numbers together, the maximum debt level of our city is $45 million, and annual debt payments can't exceed $4.4 million. With the 2023 remaining debt outstanding of $8.3 million and $9.8 million in additional debt to be exercised in 2023, and total annual payments of $3 million, you can see the city is well within its maximum requirements on debt management. So a credit to our administration and to council for keeping an eye on our debt levels. On April 24th, we approved bylaw number 238754, first reading. And so tonight, council, we are looking at second and third reading, and I would therefore move that bylaw number 238754, being a bylaw of the city of Portage la Prairie, to authorize the levying and raising of property taxes for school and municipal purposes for the year ending December 31, 2023, be given second reading. And I move that, your worship.
Moved by, who's second? That's what he said. Right? Moved by Councillor Massey, seconded by Councillor Meyer. Any questions or comments? Just a comment, just a thank you to the finance department and administration for all the hard work on this. I think we have a good plan here, and to council for putting in, for a lot of people around the table, this was your first one you're involved in, and we know it takes a lot of work and a lot of sort of learning of how things happen in a municipality, and so I thank you for the time and effort you put into that. And I think we've represented and our citizens well into what we've come up with here, so kudos to that. All those in favor? That's carried. Councillor Massey?
Thank you, your worship, and therefore I move that bylaw number 238754 be given third and final reading, finally passed, signed, and sealed.
Moved by Councillor Massey, seconded by Councillor Meyer. All those in favor? And that's carried. Yes, I did. Awesome. So we'll adjourn council at 6:30 p.m. and we will move right into committee. I'll call committee to order at 6:30 p.m. And as we know, committee is open to the public all the time. We'll move right into Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, your worship. Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee has no report for committee this evening.
Thank you. City Planning and Economic Development Committee, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, your worship. City Planning Economic Development Committee has nothing to report, although I do like to leave it open to my council colleagues around the table, if there's any committee that you sit on that refers to either planning or economic development, or there's any questions that you have, we have our representatives here tonight. Certainly feel free to bring those up to the table.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions or comments? Or? No?
That would be the end of my report for committee. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Meyer. Community Services Committee, Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. I actually have two things, and the first one is I'd like to call upon Councillor McCullough to say a few words to us.
So some of my classmates and I have
Just a little closer there, Paige. Yeah.
Some of my classmates and I have been planning a 5K walk/run for June 3rd to promote family bonding in an outdoor environment, and will also be accepting donations for the Family Resource Center at the starting point. The walk will start at the bandstand on the island and proceed westbound down the Crescent Road path.
Great. Councillor Espy.
Excellent. And I would now like to call upon Mary Lawrence, the Executive Director of the PCRC, to talk about the community cleanup.
Thank you. We currently have spring beautification days on, so if you'd like, you can get free supplies from PCRC and register your cleanup for a prize pack.
Thank you.
And if there's anyone that has any of my council colleagues that sit on any committees that are related to community services, please feel free to speak now.
Thank you.
Seeing none, that concludes my report.
Perfect. Just I'll just comment a little bit on that. Is thank you to council who we went out and did our spring beautification days, and we know part of what our motivation was is that in a couple of days we're going to have a city full of visitors. So we wanted to make sure that our city is shining bright for that. So thank you to everyone who came out and did that. And we challenge all the businesses and organizations in the community to get out and do the same thing. So thank you. Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. Waterworks Committee has nothing further to report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Transportation Committee, Councillor Porter.
Thank you, Your Worship. Transportation has nothing, committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to mention the big hockey game last Sunday between the Guns and the Hoses, the Portage la Prairie Fire Department and the Portage RCMP detachment. They went head to head, and it came to a tight finish, but the RCMP edged the fire department by a goal or 3 or 4, I can't remember. But it was a lot of fun. Some money was raised. Everyone out on the ice, young and old, looked like they were having a good time, and I just appreciate the invite to be a part of that. If anyone else on council has anything public safety related, you're welcome to speak now.
Sure. At the last meeting, I had mentioned that myself and our city manager, Nathan Pito, and our inspector, Paul Peddle, and Mary, the executive director from PCRC, were going to make a road trip to Thompson. We went up there to meet with their municipality and learn about the city and their community safety and well-being plan. We'll just give a big shout out to Mayor Colleen Smook, who was nothing but a great host for us. We met a lot of wonderful people up in Thompson who, like Portage, are working hard to improve things in their city and make it a great place for their citizens. We did lots of things, like we learned about the community safety and well-being plan. We had the opportunity to tour the College of the North up there, their recreation facilities. We toured their RCMP station, found out that a couple of those members are coming down here shortly, so we're happy about that. And it was a worthwhile trip for us to do, to make that drive up to learn. And so just a kudos to them for having us up there. And thanks to Mary and to Paul and to Nathan for taking the time to ride 16 hours together in a car. So it was great. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to point out, and if my reading was correct, that our own city manager, Mr. Pito, his grandfather was the original city manager through the city of Thompson. If I understand that correctly, it kind of rolls in the family.
He's pretty much responsible for Tom. No, you can tell the story a little bit.
It's
would
just
you?
that's pretty cool.
Through your worship to Councillor Meyer, I didn't know it was family story time today, but yes.
Only in committee.
My grandfather was appointed by INCO and the province of Manitoba to be the first CEO of the local governing district and then the first city manager of the city of Thompson. So I did get the opportunity to take a photo beside CA Nesbitt Arena in Thompson. It was a very special moment. So thanks to Mayor Smook for taking us there and taking that photo, and it was a really great experience.
It's obviously genetic.
Awesome. If nothing else, we'll adjourn committee at 6:36 p.m. Thank you, everyone, for coming out.